So CES 2024 is currently going on, and JBL has officially announced their JBL Partybox 320, JBL Partybox 120, JBL Xtreme 4, JBL Clip 5, and the JBL Go 4, alongside a few other things. But the really important thing here is that the upgrades found on the JBL Partybox 320, JBL Partybox 120, and the JBL Xtreme 4 are actually pretty big. Now first, we're going to focus on the JBL Partybox 320 and the JBL Partybox 120. Now the 320 and the 120 have the same advertised battery lives as their predecessors, the 310 and the 110. The 320 has an advertised battery life of 18 hours and the 120 has an advertised battery life of 12 hours, just like their predecessors. But what's really new here is that you can now swap out the batteries found on both the 320 and the 120. So if you have multiple batteries, then you can easily swap them out and keep the party going. And this is great, especially if you plan on taking either of these two speakers somewhere where you can't easily plug in, like let's say either the beach or if you're gonna go out camping for a few days. Now, JBL hasn't announced how much these swappable batteries will cost, but having multiple batteries is great because if you have multiple batteries, you can always just keep the party going. But more importantly, if the health of your battery degrades in either of these two speakers, instead of having to buy a brand new speaker, you can always just replace the battery. But also with both the 320 and the 120, both of these speakers now have fast charging. If you were to plug in either of these two speakers for 10 minutes from a dead battery, they're both going to get you 2 hours of playback time, which is decent, but I do assume that that's with these speakers playing at 30% volume, which is already a decent listening volume on either the 310 or the 110. But also, all of JBL's new speakers have been upgraded to Bluetooth 5.3 and they all have Auracast support. So you can pair as many Partybox 320s and 120s together, and you can also pair your JBL Xtreme 4 up to your JBL Partybox 320 or your JBL Partybox 120. And just like before, if you have two of these same Partyboxes, then you're going to be able to wirelessly pair them up and get them to play in left and right stereo mode. However, I am willing to bet that you will not be able to pair your Partybox 320 up to your Partybox 310, and you also won't be able to pair up your Partybox 120 to your Partybox 110, so just be prepared for that. But also, all of JBL's new speakers have AI sound boost, and basically all of these speakers are going to automatically adjust the sound of your music depending on what you're listening to. Now, honestly, we're going to see if this AI sound boost actually makes a difference when we do the full reviews on all of these speakers and we compare them to their predecessors. But honestly, I just think JBL wanted to have AI listed in their new products because AI is like that new hot thing, how blockchain was a few years ago. Now, from a physical design standpoint, I do feel that the Partybox 320 has gotten the most meaningful design change here. Now, first off, with the 320, the light ring in the center is now similar to the light ring that you'll find on JBL's newer Partybox speakers, and both the 320 and 120 now have built-in stars like the stars that you'll find on the 710 or the Partybox Ultimate. But what I personally really like is that the 320 now has beefier wheels. Now, the wheels on the 310 are great, but just having beefier wheels is just better. Now, JBL also claims that they added a new foldable handle onto the 120, but unfortunately the 120 still doesn't have any built-in wheels. But other than that, the 120 looks very similar to the 110, except that they moved the tweeters up from the center on the 110 back up to the top on the 120, and by doing so, we have lost the additional light rings that will go around on the tweeters on the 110. Now, this isn't a big deal, but I do miss the illuminated tweeters on the 120 already. But then there's the JBL Xtreme 4. Now, looks-wise, the Xtreme 4 has a much larger bulge on the bottom. It looks weird, but I do think that's to incorporate the new larger battery found in the Xtreme 4, because the Xtreme 4 now has an advertised battery life of 24 hours, which is a lot, and it's a big upgrade from the Xtreme 3's advertised battery life of 15 hours. And JBL claims they can get an extra 6 hours of playback time out of the Xtreme 4 if if you use it while it's in its playtime boost mode. However, I do assume that this new mode is just going to make the Xtreme 4 sound super flat, and I do feel that an advertised battery life of 24 hours is already great. Just keep in mind, I do feel that this advertised battery life of 24 hours is going to be with this speaker running at 50% volume. But more importantly, the Xtreme 4 now has a replaceable battery. Now, the replaceable battery on the Xtreme 4 isn't supposed to be swappable like with the replaceable batteries that you'll find on the new Partybox 320 or the Partybox 120. However, the battery on the Xtreme 4 is now serviceable. So if at any point you do need to swap out the battery on the Xtreme 4 for a new one, you can always do that. Now, the JBL Xtreme 4 has also been upgraded to Bluetooth 5.3 and it also has Auracast support. However, we still do have to see if the Xtreme 4 has support for JBL Partybox, and personally, I really hope that it does, because I would hate that you won't be able to connect your Xtreme 4 up to your Xtreme 3 or your Boombox 3 or to your Charge 5 or any other JBL Partybox enabled speaker. And we also have to see if you can connect two JBL Xtreme 4s together and get them to play in left to right stereo mode. But then there are the Clip 5 and the Go 4. Now, both of these speakers are promising better sound, but the main upgrade here is that these smaller speakers have also been upgraded to Bluetooth 5.3. They both also have Auracast support, but another major upgrade here is that these speakers now have support for JBL's portable app. Now, when it comes to pricing and availability, the JBL Partybox 320 and the JBL Partybox 120 will both be available in April 2024. So not too far along. And when it comes to pricing, the Partybox 320 is going to have a retail price of $600, which is a price increase from the 310. And the Partybox 120 is going to have a retail price of $400, which again is a $50 price increase from the 110. And personally, I do feel that it is worth waiting for these newer speakers because, more importantly, because of those swappable batteries, but also because these speakers have been upgraded to Bluetooth 5.3. But then there are the JBL Xtreme 4, the JBL Clip 5, and the JBL Go 4, and all of these speakers will be available in June 2024. And when it comes to pricing, the JBL Xtreme 4 is going to have a retail price of $380, the same as the Xtreme 3 today if it's not on sale. The JBL Clip 5 has a retail price of $80, the same as the Clip 4 when it's not on sale, and the JBL Go 4 is going to have a retail price of $50. Now, personally, I do feel that it's worth waiting for the JBL Xtreme 4 because of that increased battery life. However, with the Clip 5 and the Go 4, if you can find a good deal on their predecessors, I would definitely buy them today. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something if I'm really proud of it.